Okay, so let's talk tactics, all right? So a tactic is a strategy used to overcome the obstacle to obtain the objective. So a tactic is an active or playable verb following to. So this can be like conscientious, it can be externalized, it can be an emotional tactic, but they're noted underneath an objective with the phrase to do something. So how do we do this on a script? All right. So let's actually, before we do the example, look at some examples down here of like how tactics should be worded, right? So I have to amuse, to seduce, to attack, to entertain, to demand, to ridicule, to dictate, to confuse, to relax, to persist. All right, you get the point, right? There's a lot of these. But I'm giving you this list of examples, but like this isn't the only thing out there, right? Like, but some of these are super interesting, right? To bargain, to impress, to chastise. Ooh, that's a cool word. To threaten, to vilify, to berate. Have you ever been berated? Oof. To charm, to coax, to stall, right? So there's so many different ones, right? Here's some passive examples, right? So they're not actually playable. So those are like to be the worst, to be pretty, to be loved, right? So they can be non-playable tactics too, right? They can be passive. So how do we do that on our script? So remember earlier, like the first thing that we talked about was, in this particular section of this teaser, right? So what was my tactic, right? So if my objective was to describe or inform, right? Then my tactic 1, is going to be what? So you're going to want to put your tactics kind of like a works cited page. So my first tactic is what? So how am I going to do that thing? So if my objective here is to describe or inform the setting, then my tactic that I'm going to use is to inform using appropriate beats. Go to the next one. All right, so here I have to introduce. To introduce for, we have two things going on here, right? To introduce, actually, there's two tactics that could happen here. So tactic 2 goes down here. So to introduce, I need to do two things. To relax Martin, maybe? And then Martin's objective is to, if he's nervous about it, well, why is this white boy? I would say to gather information, because he's probably like just super confused why this little white boy is on his porch. Make sense? Okay. Martin's one of my best friends. We shook hands. Okay, so obviously to inform. How am I going to do that? So what's my tactic to inform this? As an actor, sometimes I do this, right? Just to help me think about how I need to say the lines. So in order to do this, obviously it's to inform using personal connection. What I mean here is like I need to think about when I first gathered a friend that I wouldn't typically have and play to that feeling or that emotion to connect it back to my character. So I've got to find that commonality between my experience and what my character is experiencing. So obviously I know what you're thinking. This is going to take me some time, Ham. It is, but this is actually going to get you connected to your piece. Look, I'm almost done with the teaser, and that took me like, 4 minutes? So if you just sit down and do it, this is going to make itself happen. So remember, you need to put your objective here in the parentheses, and then you need to put your tactic right after it with the number, so /number/, and then put all your tactics down here. Cool? Happy tacticking.